Hello, on behalf of the Mindalia TV team, welcome to Mindalia live streaming. It is my pleasure to introduce today our guest is Suzanne Powell. Suzanne Powell is a writer, author, international speaker, Zen teacher, and holistic medicine specialist. We're going to be talking about being ready to change. Suzanne, thank you to Mindalia. How are you doing today? Welcome to Mindalia live streaming. I'm sorry.
Thanks a million. That's a lovely introduction. And here I am sitting at home in Madrid, 10 p.m. Pretty late for us here in Spain, but it's a pleasure to be able to share with you worldwide for all those English speaking people around the world with Mindalia. So here I am, ready to go.
We're ready to go, and we are also ready to change. I love the name of this conference, of this conversation. And I was asking you earlier about why this title. Why should be ready to change? Because not everybody is ready to change. I feel I'm ready to change, but why should we be ready to start a new chapter?
Do you know what? Human beings are really lazy and they're not always prepared to change. But you know what? It's really easy to change when you've got no other option. So when the universe pushes you to the edge of the cliff and says, are you going to change or not? You say, yeah, I'm ready. I'll go for it. I'm not jumping yet. What do I have to do? So sometimes people need to be pushed to the limit. And if this world is changing, if the cosmos is changing, the solar system is changing, inevitably we have to change and go with the flow. So it's time for us to pull up our socks and get ready to make that shift. Actually, we have been changing for quite a long time, but we haven't really been aware of it. But this last year is when all of a sudden things just changed automatically all around us without our consent even. And that's why most people were like kind of like amazingly in shock. What is going on here? So people started actually making changes or at least adjustments in their life to be able to adapt to the new circumstances. And actually, some people throughout this whole year have maybe found their soulmate, or they've had a wonderful divorce, or they've lost their job and they're now dedicating the free time to doing what they really love. Some people have just gone down a totally different path. So it's very, very important to be ready for change when it comes. And if you're not ready for it, well, at least accept it, because that's 50% of the challenge, accepting it, and then things will flow much easier once you've actually accepted that change. So you go into this like navigator mode, like you're recalculating your route when suddenly you've got everything blocked in front of you. You've got to sit there and stop and go, oh my God, now what do I do? I don't have any other option but to just look for the easiest path, the path of least resistance. So that change that we're seeing out there comes to us as an opportunity to make our change within. So when you accept the circumstances, the inner change comes more naturally, as it would do with young children. They just say, oh, I can't play anymore, gotta go for dinner. Well, okay, let's go for dinner. Oh, time to go to bed. Well, okay, let's go to bed. They accept the way things just flow naturally, because they just trust in the people who are mum and dad, because they are guiding them and they're giving them everything that they need to go with the flow. So they get stuck into their little routine, but they upset mum and dad when they want to change, but mum and dad aren't prepared for the change. So we find ourselves having to adjust and to adapt constantly. So let's sort of like take the word conflict out of our minds and just think, how can I make the best of this situation? How can I adapt best? How can I suffer the least possible in all this process? So that's where we're going now. You know, we're readjusting and we're finding our way. And more than likely, it's going to be the right way, or it's the pathway that we've always been looking for, but we were just too lazy to get up out of the sofa and drop the remote control of the TV, because we were just in our lovely comfort zone. But now, you know, when things change, then the comfort zone kind of disappears, and that's what makes us feel uneasy or afraid or insecure. And we're you know, putting out our feelers to find other people who are maybe on the same wavelength. So it's such a positive outlook that we should really be having, and getting together with people who feel and think and want to do the same things as us, as an opportunity rather than a big conflict and turmoil in our lives, you know.
Great
That's the way I see
opportunities.
it, at least. Mm.
I think I agree with you. You talk about the comfort zone and you're referring to this hypothetical sofa. And yes, we may be in this comfort zone in our sofa, but the room is flooding. There's water coming from the roof, from the windows. So we better move and just get in the flow. Why not? The world is constantly changing. The world is evolving constantly. And sometimes that evolution is more steady and it can be very slow. But in times like these, we can actually feel the ground moving below us. We can actually feel how the world around us is actually shifting. And my question is, let me see if I can phrase it properly, is that change, we just don't have a choice. We either change with the world around us or we're going to be completely obsolete. And the system that, you know, that we live in may just decide to get rid of the old editions, the old artifacts, if we don't
Yeah,
update ourselves. What do you think?
yeah. Well, we are really ultimately predestined to save ourselves, okay? Whether we like it or not, because we're under cosmic law, action, reaction. And when we empower ourselves and we have the knowledge and we can go down a more spiritual track, then we are going to realize that we are co-creating all of this together. We are playing out the whole scene. But when you wake up and you realize that you're in power and your whole scene can change in one split second, when you start to become aware and you do things from a more conscious level, or a level of major awareness, and then you say to yourself, oh, well, I can see this now. I can see how this is working. It works for me in my personal life, in my personal relationships. But how can I transmit this to others and tell them, don't be fearful. Relax. Live day by day. Everything's gonna be okay. Everything is okay. Think positive, react in a positive way, and try and get out of all of the drama, and watch, observe, listen around you. And you're going to attract to yourself all things that you are focusing on. They're just going to expand and you're going to see them. And anybody who doesn't resonate with your message or your view in life, they're just going to drift away. They're going to get out of your scenery. And so why worry? So I think really we should be focusing more on what we do want and not on what we don't want. Because the universe, if we're thinking about, oh, this is going to go really downhill, this, and you just stop, right? Do I really want to manifest that in my reality? Those words, those things I am imagining, my thoughts, my action. No, I don't want that. Okay, right. What am I going to do? Cancel, cancel that, right? Just, I'm a biological computer, right? Cancel. I'm changing that programming. Yeah, I'm changing it. So you cancel that, but you must replace it with what you do really want and say, okay, cancel. My life is full of freedom, abundance, health, freedom to move, to travel, to be me, to be who I really am, and believe it wholeheartedly. And then just go ahead. Like I say, just do it. Just do it. You think it, you feel it, just do it fearlessly with love. Try not to hurt anybody in the process, good intentions. And that's what's going to expand and multiply and multiply. I have enjoyed living that way this whole past year. I had to stop everything. I had to stop the classes. And I thought, oh, it's really good. Rest time, quality time, peaceful time, getting together with friends, enjoying close family, looking after myself physically, taking more care of my diet, doing exercise, more contact with nature. Just time to chill out and relax and think and be more creative, more productive in a different way. And that way, the connections that I made with people, the experiences that I've had this year have been absolutely wonderful. So things have just, fixed themselves in a different way. So I'm just trying to be the highest possible version of who I really am, despite the circumstances, or because and thanks to the circumstances. So I think, how are we going to transmit this to other people? Be the example or walk your talk, share your experience and let other people feel at ease with their own experience through your experience. And just so many people, have been so confused on what's going to happen. I said, it's a great time to change. Great time to change. Just be ready for it and move in that direction.
I love the fact that you say that we're destined to salvation, regardless of if we want or no. And one of the things that I question myself very frequently is because I believe that we're evolving and there's no devolving. We are evolving regardless of what we want. It's just the way is always forward. Um, but my question normally is if me as the individual that I know right now, this flesh, these bones are evolving, or if at any point my evolution is going to require for me to leave this behind and just the me that I really am go to whatever we're going. What do you think about that?
I just say if you feel it, do it. It's good for you. You feel it in your bones, go for it. Now, our body is constantly changing. Our muscles, our skin, all of our organs, we're constantly changing. Thank God, thank goodness we are. But in our soul, our inner self, our higher self knows our journey and knows that what we have to do to go along our journey may involve getting sick, may involve having an accident, may involve with living in another country, may involve um, just any kind of an experience that could shake up our life so as we can go down another path, because we are all always constantly looking for each other as human beings, as humanity. We're always having these magical, wonderful, mysterious encounters with other human beings as if by coincidence, but really nothing is by coincidence. So we are going down that path, and we've just got to accept it. We are destined to evolve, and things are moving very, very fast this year. I have never seen so many people wake up, or at least they're in the process of wakening up. All of a sudden, they're getting it. They're beginning to question what's really happening. They're beginning to doubt. They're beginning to study and investigate and do their own research. and they're getting the answers for themselves. Now, the answers and the signs are screaming at us from all corners of the earth, but it's just a matter of like shaking the dust of your antenna and say, you know, making the connection with your higher self to really let yourself go, you know, let the mind go and let your routine go and all those attachments that we have, you know, that were keeping us feeling that false sense of being secure and protected and safe. We have to shake our whole body and just say, all right then, let come what may, I'm ready for it, I accept it. And just I talk to my higher self, you know, and I say, okay, what's on the cards for today? I'm ready, I'll accept it, be that what it may. It doesn't matter. I know it's for my own evolution. And if I'm around to help other people understand life a little bit better, I'm happy to do that. So just let go and let it flow. Oh, I'm a poet and I didn't know it. If you feel it in your bones, right, just go for it. It's there. It's in your program.
I agree with you in so many things, but one of the things that you said that I find very interesting is that you say that every time we're growing and there's more people waking up little by little at our own pace. But I wouldn't doubt the fact that this is an era in which more and more people are aching and are feeling and craving that something else. We are craving as like it's massive, that need for connection with what's invisible, and we are having more access to information. So why do you think this is happening? What is this thing, what's this thing that is distinguishing this era, and that is causing people to crave that connection?
Yes, it's like we've had this huge, big jigsaw puzzle, and it was all mixed up, and all the pieces were all topsy-turvy. And suddenly you're given this big jigsaw puzzle of your life and the whole human race, and you put all the jigsaw pieces on top of a table and you start to turn them over. And slowly, after so many years, you know, some pieces join together, maybe like 10,000 pieces, you know, a few join together and others join together, and then suddenly two blocks join together. And when we do a jigsaw puzzle, it takes us hours and hours and hours just to get a little signal, a little sign that there is an image really there that's going to eventually manifest, you know. But suddenly, all of a sudden, there's kind of like a rush. All of a sudden, big blocks join in with other blocks, and suddenly you begin to see the picture that's going to show up. And maybe you've got 100 pieces left on the table, and those 100 pieces just slot in so easily, so fast, when at the very beginning of the jigsaw puzzle, it took you hours or days maybe just to get 100 pieces together. And there's this kind of like a rush, and people are beginning to get it, that we're kind of like in a hurry to wake up, because deep down in the soul, people know that we're going somewhere. People want to go home, home to the real home. And we know deep down what it is, but the mind is confused. Humanity is going home. We've been here to do what we had to do, and now we need that feeling. You know, it's just a wonderful feeling when you meet somebody and you connect from the first instant and you say, I really feel at home with you. I feel that I can be me in your presence. I don't have to pretend anything. I don't have to protect my reputation with you. You know, I can do anything or say anything silly, and I know it's going to be okay with you. Now, that's why so many people are reconnecting on that level, and they're feeling at home with each other. You know, I have various places or people that I would hang around with because I feel like me. I'm me in their presence. I'm not Suzanne Powell, the lady on internet who gives these funny talks, you know. So people are aching for that. They've got that urge and they're moving towards home, going home together. And this is like the end of a big cycle where we were thrown here into this experience as spiritual beings living as a physical experience with our memory totally erased of who we really are, where we're going, and where this is leading us. And all of a sudden, it's like, okay, we've enjoyed our playground time, and the teacher comes along and says, okay, back to class now, playtime over, we got to go home. And we kind of accept that, you know, some of us want to go, oh, let me play 5 minutes more, 5 minutes more. And we're really, really absorbing all the possible experiences we can with these physical bodies, with our five senses. We're experiencing all the drama, all the conflict, all the love, the confusion, and the awakening process is happening. And people are looking for each other because we know we're going home. So if people start meditating, getting more in contact with Mother Nature, heal their body physically, mentally, emotionally, they got to find their peace, their inner peace, peace in their mind, peace in their nervous system, peace in the body, to find finally peace in their spirit. And when we have that overall sensation of peace, in spite of the circumstances, that's when we can connect with our inner super memory, which holds all the information of who we really are as humanity, where we come from, what we're doing here, why we're with certain people, and exactly where we are going. And it's so, so exciting to be alive in these times because so many of us in humanity have come up as volunteers to participate in this grand transformation of the human race in our journey back home to who we really are and where we're really going. And it's just going to be a bit topsy-turvy still. A lot of things are changing, but there's going to be an amazing revelation because everything that we thought was real and is not real is going to fall apart. And as they say, the oil floats to the surface. And we're going to see cosmic law in action. And there's one thing that we say about the universe, the cosmos. The only thing that the cosmos or the universe cannot destroy is a real person. So when we go deep down and we discover who we really are and we connect with who we really are and who is everybody else, right? We will discover that our essence is just pure love. And we are learning once again to be real people. So whether it's conflict, terrorism, fear, poverty, hunger in the world, what we got to consider is that it is an opportunity for us to open our hearts, open our minds, open our pockets, and help those people to literally survive. And that will help us to survive and wake up and come together as humanity, feeling the love that we really are and expanding that love. And that's what's going to change the whole vibration. So everything is going to turn upside down. And when we get to that point where so many people are just vibrating in love in their true essence of who they really are, we are literally going to create paradise here on planet Earth. And what is not in vibration with that love will just drift off in another direction, or some people will die, some people will go through hurricanes, earthquakes, people will be affected by the solar flashes, solar flares that are coming very strongly now impacting on Earth. And people just must be prepared to make adjustments to be able to survive those changes. So It's all about creating a high vibration, being who you really are, trusting in your protection, and helping others. Big heart, hands open wide, mind open, and then you're going to be ready to do whatever is needed of you. And remember who you are.
Well, that whole process of waking up, the process of going back home, going back to where we came from, which is inevitable, as we said earlier. Is it like being in a diving suit, like being scuba diving, and you've been going down, 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 down for who knows how long? All of a sudden, the water gets too heavy, and you know that your air is not going to be enough. So we start swimming up that moment of removing the diving suit and breathing again, the real air, the air that we are actually made to breathe. I guess that's more or less the process of going back home and seeing the light or the reality of the things that are permanent, those things that are not part of this whole fiction. Now, from your perspective and according to your practice and your experiences, what would be ideal for us to start practicing, to start swimming up, to start getting used to the actual air?
To buy a lifeboat, a lifeboat, a ring, one of these for floating. Keep up on the surface. Be
A
ready. Be
rubber
ready.
ducky.
A rubber ducky. Your goggles. Get ready. Get ready. Yeah. People have to find their peace of mind. Okay. I think the best way for people to go in and find their peace, get out there in Mother Nature. Walk barefoot on the grass if you can. Sit under a tree, just relax. Watch Mother Nature in front of you. We've had some lovely experiences with birds lately, and just listen to Mother Nature. Connect that way. Do grounding. Walk on the grass, walk on the sand. Connect that way. If you can, meditate. It's not so difficult. Just sit down 5 minutes and do a couple of deep breaths. Take a couple of deep breaths. Close your eyes and just try not to think of anything. Just go blank. Go into that void, into that emptiness, and don't even try to not think. If you try to not think, you're going to think 10 times more than usual. Just what I like to do to switch off the mind, I always have a lovely memory of my mum, being myself the eldest of four. When my brothers or my sister was crying, they were crying, and my mum used to take the baby, in her arms and put the baby on the shoulder, and she would tap the back and go, shh, shh. That tender, who has never seen a mum doing that, calming a little baby, putting her face down on the baby's head, just going, everything's going to be okay, So when I close my eyes for meditation, and if my mind's going 90 to the dozen, I just capture that image, and in my mind, in my head, I just say, shh, and that just calms me down. It just brings me back to that lovely, calming, soothing sensation that I observed in my mum. And with my brothers and my sister, and that just sort of puts me in lovely silent mode, no matter what's going on around me. Just hold that for 5-10 minutes. If you want to go longer, you can go longer. And it's so curious because we are no longer used to taking time out to do nothing. People are not they're now not used to being bored. Nobody lets himself or herself be bored, because when you've got 10 minutes or 5 minutes where you're waiting for the bus, or what do people do nowadays? Before, we used to just sit there and look around. and watch people and tune into somebody's conversation next door or whatever, in a natural way, just natural curiosity. But what do people do nowadays? They just pick up their phone. They pick up their mobile phone and they're, going through all their social media or their messages or whatever, because we've lost that natural instinct to just switch off and not do anything, just daydream. I used to spend hours and hours daydreaming, just drifting and imagining. So we've got to give ourselves permission to go back to that natural state, because when we do that, we go into the state of being in spirit, inspired in spirit. And that's when we get brilliant ideas. That's when suddenly we get those connections or those aha moments. Oh, you wouldn't believe what just came to me. Oh, I totally forgot. We go into that mode of, oh my God, aha moments when we make those lovely connections. But now, because of the phone and the addictions to technology, people don't seem to do that anymore. Just maybe small children, even parents are afraid to let their kids get bored. And at the slightest sign of, oh my God, she's going to interrupt my peace. Well, here, take the iPad or the phone and watch cartoons, and they keep them entertained, rather than just letting them stare out the window or play with the dog or doodle or anything like that, which would let their mind flow freely. So there is too much overstimulating in human beings nowadays, and that has caused a lot of disconnecting from one's inner self or higher self. So we've got to get back into that mode with meditating, contact with nature, singing, dancing, playing music, just painting, drawing, doodling, anything, out for a walk, talk to yourself, do crazy things, call a friend that you haven't spoken to for years and surprise them, or go out and even help some poor person. That makes you feel really good. Do some charity work, go through your cupboard, sort out some clothes or objects or things, and then pack it all up nicely and give it to a family in need, maybe. Those kind of things are going to reconnect us, and it's such a lovely feeling. Or offer the neighbor to take care of the kids for a day so they can go off
On a
out to have
date,
lunch.
right? That's one of the things I
Idea,
like
love.
doing. I like telling my
Yeah,
friends, like, if you want to go on a date, let me take care of your kids. Because we
yeah,
sometimes forget how important it is for couples to have
yeah,
time for themselves.
exactly.
I love how you say that we are so used to technology that we forget to be by ourselves. It is so important to have that chance of self observation, or just letting your mind rest from the constant stimulation of the outside world. Um, but what I wanted to ask you also is what you were just thinking about, doing silly things. And there is something I value a lot, and is laughter. Is being able
Yeah.
to laugh at ourselves, to find something funny in whatever situation. Is that what's the impact, vibrationally speaking, of laughter?
Yeah, well, I think that when we laugh, that's when we loosen up. Um, we lose that kind of like that shame or the embarrassment in certain circumstances. And that's when we really connect with our inner child. Because I think that when we go into that mode, laughter mode, funny mode, playful, that's when your inner child, comes to the surface, and it sparks off the same reaction in other people. And you go into that mode like, oh, what the heck? I'm going to say it, I'm going to do it, what the heck? Just feel free. And you really, really go into high vibration. And there is nothing more delightful than just having a wonderful giggling, laughing session. And you just go, Oh, it's even better than an orgasm. I think it lasts longer when other people really connect with you on that level. That's one thing I always say. May humor and laughter always be present in your life, no matter how serious the circumstances. And I think that's one of the things people say that's very kind of like characteristic of me. People who know me, they say, "Oh, Suzanne's just like love and humor. They really go together well. You know, you can make the most of any situation when there is a lot of drama. Just bring things down to earth in a very human way, without offending anybody, of course, and just have a bit of a laugh at yourself when you do funny things or silly things by accident. We're human, or at least we're trying to be human. We're trying to be natural. And little children bring that out in us. Because sometimes you see this man coming with his three-piece suit, very serious, and just come from work, and suddenly, he meets up with his little child, his little son or his daughter on the street, and it's all of a sudden he's going, "Hi, Gucci, Gucci, would you," where there's absolutely no seriousness. He wouldn't mind sitting on the grass, rolling around in the grass with his little child, and that's it's like a permission slip. When you're in the presence of children, it's kind of like it's okay to be funny, it's okay to be silly and do silly things and talk gibberish and talk silly and go goo 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 ga ga. And a child will always respond to that much faster than serious talk. But they're just full of innocence. And I think as adults, we should be more like them instead of teaching them to be like us. And I think when we get to that level where we can bring out the innocence beyond, over far away beyond what's our seriousness and our reputation and what's correct and what's incorrect. No, once we start being more like our inner child, bringing that to the surface, then we're going to change the world. We're going to be children. Don't judge the way adults do, and they just love to make us laugh, and they love to get our attention, and they love to provoke that in us to make us more like them. But as adults, we lose patience, or we think we have things that are more important. That are more important that we should be doing at that moment, and we don't let ourselves get just totally lost in the moment with them. But when you give yourself permission, and it's okay, instead of looking at your watch saying, "All right, then I've got to put on the washing machine, I've got to iron, I've got to prepare the things for tomorrow." I think you realize how important that really is when your kids have grown up, and how much you might have missed out on by not taking advantage of those moments when your child was looking for 5 minutes more and you were saying, "No, that's enough." So I think it's very important to connect with our inner child. Keep things light. If we want enlightenment, keep things light. That's going to be much. That's going to be. That's going to give us much quicker results.
Be light for
rather than going
light.
to the heavy,
Keep it light.
all this theory on enlightenment. But it's much more simple than that. We all are already enlightened, but we've forgotten that we are. We've forgotten who we are and where we have come from. Yeah.
Let's take a couple of questions from the people that are
sure.
with us. For example, let's take a look here. Claudia, she's asking from the United States through the YouTube chat, how long do you think this transformation will last until we truly are ourselves?
Okay, we decide as the human race, we decide once we wake up. Okay, we do have total freedom to make that choice. And it's a matter of making the choice. We've got to get the inner knowledge and the wisdom to make the choice and just go rather than take on all the suffering. But in some countries, people are really waking up faster. But in other countries, because of the comfort zone, they need a bigger push, to get to the edge of the cliff to actually make that move and say, okay, right, I'm going to wake up now. Yes, we're ready for this now. So there is, it is. Let's go a little bit further than that. This has already happened and it's all over. And what we're really doing now is we're looking back and we're watching all of this as humanity on a big screen out there in the cosmos. And we're pointing down to ourselves and saying, oh, do you remember? Do you remember that time, that crazy year? Oh, there's me. And look what I was doing. Oh my God. And I got wrapped up in all the drama. Oh, and I believed everything. And I did this and I did that. It's all over. We won. Love always wins. And we saved ourselves, from our ignorance. And now we're looking back and we're living it and we're feeling it in our bodies, in our veins, in our muscles, in our bones, as if it was really, really happening, but it's just an illusion. How many times have we got totally wrapped up in a really, really dramatic film, and we suffered and we cried and we laughed with all the characters, and we really, really got involved in all the scenes, and our bodies reacted as if it was really real, and but what we're not aware of now, that this is all an illusion, and we are unraveling the mystery of this great illusion. That's why we've got to get out of 3D. We've got to get out of this three-dimensional structure, and by raising our vibration, by getting in contact with our inner child, by meditating, by being with people who feel, think, and speak alike, you're just going to feel much more comfortable with those people, and they are going to bring out the best in you. You're going to feel more at ease, you're going to feel relaxed, you're going to feel happy, and your vibration will raise. And then as you do that, you're going to be a better swimmer through the dimensions, and it's going to be much easier for you to slide from 3D to 4D to 5D. So once you get out of this trapped body in this 3D heavy dimension, then when you get out of there, you're going to look down and say, oh, but my God, it looks so real. It felt so real. But look at this. We are nothing. We are really nothing. This body, 3D body, is nothing compared to what we are on a multi-dimensional level. We are absolutely amazing, powerful beings. But this part, what I call the stupid mind, thinks it knows everything, is our limitation. So we've become masters of limitation because of our mind. So we got to get in contact with our higher mind, or our that spiritual part. Our spiritual body has its spiritual mind. So that's the way to do it. But we got to raise our vibration to have that that more fluid flowing way of getting through the dimensions and seeing beyond just the vision of the 3D eyes.
Suzanne,
Maybe went a little bit too far there.
and we are very thankful that you did, because it's exactly what we needed to hear. as we reach the end of our conversation, what do you want to leave us with? What are your closing thoughts?
Be yourself. Feel free. Think free. Take care of your body. Look after those who really need you. The elder members of the family, the younger children, the innocent. Remember who you are. If it feels right, if it feels good, that's going to bring you down your true path. Don't be afraid to let go, and be a happy human being. You can co-create, you can enjoy life, you've got permission to do that. That's what we come here to do. But our real true promise as human beings, when we've come to this world at this time, we have come with a promise to love and serve. And that's what's going to make us really, really feel that we're on our true path as human beings, helping humanity down this pathway, going back home. Love and serve.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing with us your time, your knowledge. It's been a great pleasure. I truly feel